Have you ever wondered if the winds out there are rushing somewhere, or if they, like us, are simply searching for a place to rest? Sometimes waiting is not a delay, but a silent preparation of the heart to receive the most peaceful thing, like those eternal snow-capped peaks. They do not need to move, yet still embrace all the movements of the world. Tonight, let your mind be like a weary wind after a long journey, gently landing in the land of ancient whispers, where all anxieties will vanish into the void, giving way to a pure stillness. A journey back to yourself is waiting for you right now. Hello, my dear companion. Before we begin our journey to the distant village of Khumjung, where the wind waits for you, I want you to give yourself a few truly precious moments. Do not rush. Tonight, time is no longer a pressure, but a cool stream flowing around you. Find yourself a truly comfortable position, perhaps lying on your back with your arms resting by your sides, or lying on your side, as you always do when you feel safest. Begin by feeling the weight of your body sinking deep into the soft mattress. Imagine that your bed is a fluffy cloud supporting you unconditionally. You no longer need to hold on to anything. Loosen your shoulders. Those shoulders may have carried too much weariness from the long day. Now, let them drop, light and free. Next are the muscles of your face. Relax your forehead, relax your eyes, and let your mouth relax completely. You are in your most private, safest space. Now, take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel the cool air flooding into your chest, bringing freshness and purity. Hold that breath for a few short counts, then slowly exhale through your lips. As you exhale, imagine every lingering thought, every image of work, of worries, following that breath out and vanishing into the night, just like that. Your breathing becomes more regular, deeper. Each inhale is a peace, each exhale is a release. Listen to the space around you. Perhaps it is the steady ticking of a clock, the rustle of the wind outside the window, or simply the absolute silence of the room. All these sounds do not disturb you. They are merely the accompaniment to the lullaby of your own soul. You are gradually moving away from the noisy outside world to enter a more tranquil state. In this relaxed state, let your imagination begin to sketch the first strokes of the Himalayas. There, the air is not just for breathing, but a living entity, carrying the breath of stone and snow. You feel a gentle warmth enveloping your feet, then spreading up to your calves. calves, your knee, and warming your entire body. It is the warmth of a butter fire in a small stone house, a familiarity, as if you belonged there long ago. Do not try to focus too hard on my words. Let them be like ripples on a lake, gently soothing your mind. If any thoughts suddenly arise, do not chase them away. Just let them pass, like clouds floating across a mountain peak. You are merely an observer, calm and non-judgmental. You are learning to land not with your feet, but with your entire being onto the solid Mother Earth. We are here, between the boundaries of reality and dreams. This feeling of relaxation is wonderful, isn't it? It feels like coming home after a very long and tiring journey. Everything is ready. Your heart is still enough. Your mind is quiet enough. We will walk through the door of time together to the place where the wind waits for you. But before we go deeper into the story, if you feel this peace, please take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell for the channel. Your companionship is the greatest comfort for me to continue creating these peaceful spaces for sleep. And now, let me take you a little further towards the white snow-capped peaks of Khumjung village. Continue to maintain that steady rhythm of breathing. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. You are drifting gently and smoothly into the land of dreams as your breathing has become regular and your mind has begun to relax. Let me take you away from reality, across fields and brightly lit cities, to stop at a place where time seems to have forgotten the hustle and bustle of life. We are standing in Khumjung, a small village nestled deep in the heart of the Himalayas, at an altitude of over 3,700 meters above sea level. Imagine you are standing in a vast space where the sky seems so low that you can touch the tiny stars, shimmering like diamond dust on a black velvet background. The air here is thin and cold, a pure, clean cold that every time you inhale, you feel your lungs being washed by frost, and the flavor of eternal snow-capped peak. That cold does not make you shiver, because you are wrapped in a thick, warm wool cloak, and because the silence here has a way of warming the soul in its own way. Beneath your feet are grey silver stone paths, stones that have been worn down over centuries by the footsteps of the Sherpa and the resilient yaks. Around you, low-rise stone houses appear dimly in the darkness of the night. They stand close together, sturdy against the gusty winds blowing from Mount Everest. The roofs are covered with heavy stone slabs, skillfully stacked to keep the precious warmth inside. Listen to the sound of this space. It is not an absolute silence, but a vibrant tranquility. Do you hear the steady, rhythmic rustling? That is the sound of thousands of five-colored lantern prayer flags stretching in the wind. Green, red, yellow, white, and blue flags are hung along the paths, on the roofs, and even on the steep slopes. The wind blows, the flags wave, carrying ancient prayers of mercy and peace across the world. The sound of the cloth flapping against itself sounds like the flapping wings of mythical birds, gentle but persistent. And there, from the dark meadows, the copper bells on the necks of the eggs ring out. Come, come. That sound is deep and hollow, echoing between the cliffs, then fading into the void. It is not rushed. It does not urge. It is simply a rhythm of survival, a reminder that in this harsh land, patience is the greatest faith. Now, notice the scent spreading through the air. It is a very characteristic scent of the highlands, the scent of dried juniper leaves being burned in ceramic braziers in front of the houses, thin blue smoke blending into the cold air, carrying a light, pungent, and elegant taste. That scent is like a thread connecting the earth and the sky, humans and gods. It soothes the tensions in your brain, making you feel truly present here, in this moment, in this ancient village. You begin to walk, each step slow, on a small path leading towards the end of the village. The stone walls on either side are covered with moss and streaks of old snow that has not yet melted. Each of your steps feels the sturdiness of the earth. The only light guiding the way is the dim reflection of the snow on the distant peaks and the yellow butter lamp light flickering from the tiny windows of the houses. Those windows look like the warm eyes of the village, looking into the darkness with tolerance. Inside those houses, you can imagine people gathered around a smoldering fire. The warmth of yak butter, the smell of hot tea, and the presence of loved ones create an atmosphere thick with safety. In Khumjung, people do not need many words to understand each other. They understand through breath, through the way the wind blows, and through the way the peaks change color according to the sunlight. You stop in front of a stone house, slightly isolated at the edge of the village. This house seems quieter, but the kitchen smoke still rises steadily through the small chimney. This is where our story will truly begin. The surrounding space seems to narrow down, leaving only you, the stone house, the glowing fire, and the sound of the wind telling stories from thousands of years ago. You feel like a traveler, who has just found an ideal stop where you can shed all psychological baggage to remain only with the purity of sleep. This space is created specifically for you. There is no hustle, no worries of the modern world, only stone, snow, wind, and prayers. Let yourself sink deeper into the sea. Let the subtlety of the Himalayan nature lead you into the deepest part of your soul, where all wounds are healed by silence. The thick wooden door of the stone house gently closes behind you, leaving the cold of the Himalayas on the other side of the wall. Inside, the space is covered in a soft, honey yellow light emitted from butter lamps placed on the altar shelves, and the fire in the middle of the house. Here, time does not seem to pass by the clock, but by the burning of juniper wood and the melting of butter in the copper teapot. Tashi sits there on a hand-woven wool rug, its ancient patterns faded by time. It does not move much, his rough hands encircling a wooden tea bowl. The flickering fire reflects on the face of the man in his late 40s, carving out the brave but pensive features of one who spent his youth conquering the world's highest peaks. But now, those eyes no longer look at steep cliffs or deep abysses. They are looking at a void within his own heart. Sit down beside him on the soft, warm rug, feeling the heat from the fire spread into your skin. Tashi does not speak, but his presence brings a strange sense of peace. He is a Sherpa, a child of the mountains, one who understands that the greatest strength lies not in conquering the heights, but in learning to live with solitude. For many years, Tashi has chosen to live like this. He leads the axe across burnt grass slopes. He fixes the stones blown loose by the wind on the roof. And every afternoon, he sits in this very spot, listening to the wind whistling through the door cracks like an old friend. It is said that those who live too long among high peaks often become silent because human words are too small before the majesty of nature. Tashi is the same. He keeps a memory in his heart that he thought had fossilized over time. That memory is named Lhamo, a name as light as a breath, yet with the weight of a drifting iceberg. She left more than 10 years ago, taking a part of the village's soul and a part of his life. Tashi once believed that if he kept walking the trails, if he kept guiding foreign climbing teams, he would leave that name in some valley behind him. But the mountain does not allow one to escape. Every time the wind shifts, every time the juniper leaves burn, or every time the silver moonlight clearly illuminates the peak of Amal Dablam, The memory of Lhamo returns, intact and aching. Then, one morning, when the fog still covered the stone roofs like a layer of white silk, Tashi's silence was broken. Dorje, an old neighbor, came and said 3 words that made Tashi's already sleeping heart tremble. Lhamo has returned. At that moment, Tashi was tying the copper bell to the lead yak. The bell rang once, a dry beat, then went silent. He did not ask more, did not look up, but his hands suddenly became clumsy. Can you feel that moment? It is when a person's whole world suddenly shifts, yet outside, they must maintain an appearance of indifference, like a frozen lake. He said, "It's just so lightly, as if hearing about an upcoming rain or a new grass season, but in reality, a storm was forming in his chest." In the following days, Tashi still maintained his regular rhythm of life. He did not go looking for her. He did not ask which house she was staying in. He was afraid. He was afraid that after all those years, they had become 2 strangers with a shared past. He was afraid that her gaze would make him realize how old and lonely he had become. He chose to stand from afar. There were afternoons when bringing the yaks back. He stopped at a high, rocky outcrop. Looking down at the village, he saw the kitchen smoke from her family's old house. That smoke was also blue, also thin, like his own house's smoke, and he stood there until his feet were icy cold, until the long tall flags began to darken in the sunset. As for Lhamo, she was not in a hurry either. She returned carrying the traces of the outside world, but as soon as she stepped onto the stones of Khumjung, she knew she belonged here. She put on her dark red jubba again, tying the embroidered pangi around her waist. She cleaned the old family house, dusting the bronze Buddha statues. Every morning, she burned juniper incense, letting that scent greet the mountain gods on her behalf. She knew Tashi was there. She heard the villagers talk about him, the talented but loneliest guide in the region. She was like him. She did not rush to meet, because she knew that the love of those raised in the great wilderness does not need haste. It is like the way snow falls, layer upon layer, silent but persistent, until it covers the entire space, until one night, exactly a night like tonight, the snow began to fall heavily. The wind from the mountain pass howled, pushing black clouds to cover the moonlight. Khumjung sank into a white and silent world. Lhamo stood before Tashi's door. She felt the warmth of the butter lamplight leaking through the door cracks. Her hand touched the rough wood, feeling the cold of the wood and the vibration from within. She knocked 3 slow, clear knocks amidst the whistling wind. Inside, Tashi looked up. He knew it was her, without looking, without hearing a voice, just by a deep instinct. He knew the person standing behind that door was the one he had waited for half his life. He stood up, his steps heavy and slow. When the door opened, a blast of cold air rushed in, but it did not make him as cold as the moment their eyes met. They stood there, between the boundary of the warmth inside and the freezing cold outside. There were no tight hugs, no bursting tears as in romance stories, only a deep recognition. Lhamo saw the wrinkles at the corners of Tashi's eyes, the wrinkles of time and mountain wind. Tashi saw the calmness in Lhamo's eyes, a beauty no longer of brilliant youth, but of a soul that has gone through enough storms to find peace. You have returned, Tashi said, his voice deep and slightly hoarse, like stones rolling in a valley. Lhamo only nodded slightly, a thin smile appearing on her lips. I have returned. She stepped into the house. Tashi closed the door, separating the noisy and cold world outside. She sat down opposite him by the fire. Tashi poured her a new bowl of butter tea. The steam rose, blurring the distance of more than 10 long years. They began to talk, but not about the reason she left, nor about the hardships she had endured. They talked about this season's yak herd, about the new Lhanta flags hung on the hilltop, about how this year's butter tea seemed richer. The silence between their stories was no longer an emptiness, it was a full silence. Tashi stood up, walked to the corner of the room, and took out a small, faded wooden box. Inside was an old necklace made of jade and red coral, a gift he had bought many years ago, but never had the chance to give. He placed it in her hand. The cold stones touched Lhamo's warm palm. She did not say thank you. She only squeezed the necklace in her hand, and in that moment, all mistakes, all waiting were resolved. Outside, the snow was still falling. The bells on the necks of the yaks, sheltering in the pen, occasionally rang a somber but reassuring beat in this small stone house. The butter lamp still burned steadily, unmoved by the wind. Tashi and Lhamo sat there by the fire that was gradually dying, but the warmth was still rich. They understood that happiness is not finding the past, but finding each other in the present, when both are quiet enough to empathize with each other. Their story had no climax, no unexpected drama. It flowed like a glacier, slow but unstoppable. It was a love forged through the cold, of the Himalayas, nurtured by the patience of mountain stone. And tonight, in distant Khumjung, those two souls have truly found where the wind waits for you. The warmth from the fire begins to make your eyes heavy. Tashi and Lhamo's story is like a gentle lullaby, taking you away from your final thoughts. You feel safe knowing that no matter how far you go, no matter how long the time, there is always a place, a person, and a fire waiting for you to return. Let this peace envelop you as we prepare to enter the next stage of sleep. Now, as the story of Tashi and Lhamo has gradually closed like a neatly folded old book, you will feel the space around you begin to change. All boundaries between reality and dreams seem to be blurring, melting into each other like snowflakes touching the surface of a warm lake inside the stone house. The fire is now only smoldering embers, emitting a soft, ethereal orange-red light. The warmth is no longer as sharp as when it was first lit, but has become soft, covering the entire room like a fine mist. You feel that you are no longer an observer, but have completely merged into this atmosphere. Tashi and Lhamo's presence also becomes illusory. Their figures sitting by the fire fade, leaving only the sense of peace and absolute trust remaining in the space. Feel this interweaving. The whistling wind outside is no longer the sound of harsh nature, but has transformed into a steady, rhythmic melody, like the breath of the mountains. The sound of the yak bells, occasionally ringing from afar, now sounds like an echo from the subconscious, taking you deeper into the land of forgetting. The five-colored lantern flags in your mind at this moment no longer have a clear shape. They are only soft streaks of color intertwining, fluttering in a space that no longer has gravity. You feel your body weightless, as if the weight of bone and flesh has completely vanished into the thick wool rug. Every muscle, every cell is expanding, relaxing completely. There is no longer any tension, no longer any thoughts that need to be completed. All concepts of time, of yesterday or tomorrow, are melting like hot butter in a copper cup. Only the present remains, a vast, quiet, and comforting present. The warmth from the fire in the story has now truly become the warmth from the blanket covering you. The scent of dried juniper lingering now blends with the familiar scent in your room, creating a magical connection. You are in Khumjung, but you are also in your own home. These two spaces overlap, creating an absolute protective cocoon where no worry can penetrate, no noise can reach. Notice the silence. It is a silence with depth, a silence that speaks. It is whispering to you that everything is fine, that your journey has temporarily stopped at the most peaceful haven. The images of the Himalayas, of silver snow-capped peaks, of shimmering water lamps, all are fading at the edge of your mind. They do not disappear, but are turning into soft materials to weave your dreams. Every movement in your mind at this moment slows down to the point of almost stopping. You are floating in an ocean of peace. Your consciousness is like a small boat. No need to steer. Just let the gentle water of the night push you towards the horizon of deep sleep. The interweaving between the story and the sense of reality is complete. You are ready to completely let go of the last link with the waking world, to vanish into the vast stillness of the night. Everything is fading, everything is vanishing. Only infinite relaxation remains, and a perfect silence is embracing you. Now, the darkness is no longer a pitch-black void, but a soft velvet embrace, holding you in absolute protection. Khumjung village has completely fallen asleep. The last bottle lamps have run dry. The fire is only grey streaks of ash, keeping the last warmth deep in the heart of the earth and stone. The space now only has a dim white color of snow, and the immense stillness of the great Himalayas. You are sinking deeper and lighter. Feel your eyes now completely closed without a single effort. Your entire body is like a feather floating in a windless valley. Silence covers every sense. The wind outside has become a white noise, steady, soothing, taking you into your most perfect state of rest. In this state, your heart beats slowly, in sync with the breath of the eternal mountains. The last thoughts of Tashi, of Lhamo, or of the jade necklace have all melted into shimmering dust particles and vanished into the dream world. You no longer need to remember, nor do you need to wait. The place where the wind waits for you is now here in the peace of your soul right now. Imagine the snow still falling outside the window of that distant village. Each snowflake falling is a good night wish from the universe. One flake, two flakes, then millions of snowflakes weave a pure white carpet, covering all worries, covering all weary memories. All are washed clean, all are healed. In the peace of the dark night, you are drifting into the deepest sleep, where the mind is completely free, no longer burdened by images or words. It is a pure, warm, and safe space. You feel yourself completely vanishing into this silence. No more you, no more story, only a light and happy existence. Sleep is coming, natural and powerful, like the flow of time. Let it lead you through the doors of the subconscious to the most beautiful and serene dreams. You deserve this rest. You deserve to be loved and protected throughout the long night. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you will find yourself full of energy, as if just washed by the pure air of the high peaks. But that is tomorrow's story. For now, just let yourself sink deep, very deep into the gentle night before completely sinking into the dream. If you loved this journey, remember to come back and interact with the channel tomorrow. A small comment about your feelings or a share will help this peaceful space spread to more people. Thank you for trusting and accompanying me tonight. Good night, traveler of the mountains. Good night in the embrace of the wind and snow. Sink deep, sleep very deep.